boom, have no fear. The I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear. The I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Welcome to the Iron Dome of Disruption. Welcome to the Ziggity Zone of Disruption. My name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Inflamed Ashkenazi, a.k.a. the Sultan of Sniff, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo. Hope everybody's feeling really good. Hope everybody's feeling really safe. Hope everybody is feeling really sane. I'm Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct. If you're listening to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, you could watch the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. You could watch this episode in glorious 4K on my YouTube page at Michael Rapaport, Sign up for alerts. Ask a question. If you're watching on YouTube, watch and ask a question. Leave a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. You like something, you don't like something, let me know. I'm Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct. I'm going to just get into it. Man, what a week. What a day. I'm going to get into it. Edan Alexander from New Jersey. The lone soldier from Tenafly, New Jersey. As of the recording of this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast just hours ago, has been released. And what a miracle. What a miracle. It's a miracle that he's alive and that he was seen on his own 2 feet walking. I can't imagine what he's been through. Edan Alexander, who was a lone soldier. If you don't know what that means, he's a dual citizen, and he enlisted in the IDF. Edan Alexander is 21 years old. He was born in Tel Aviv and raised in Tenafly, New Jersey. At 18, he made the choice to enlist in the IDF, and he was stationed near Gaza. Obviously, he was on patrol October 7th, and that day he disappeared. And for 580 plus days, Edan Alexander was being held hostage. There were 2 videos, I believe, propaganda videos of him while being held hostage. And because they knew he was a soldier, who knows what he was subjected to. But I could say for myself, and I'm going to get into my feelings and thoughts throughout the day, because for me personally, the Qatar jet of it all and all the stuff that's been online and the Trump maybe getting this plane and all that stuff, it has caused me and a lot of people to take our eyes off the main prize, which is Edan Alexander is home. Edan Alexander is home after 580 plus days. And I know for myself, I said, I posted, I prayed for his return. And I know I tweeted in my posts, I've spoken these words, please bring these hostages home by any means necessary. By any means necessary. And Edan Alexander has been freed by any means necessary. And I can't imagine how his mother and father and his family and his friends feel. I am sure they have, I can't even imagine what they've been through. I can't imagine what Edan Alexander has been through, but he's back. He is back, and it is a miracle, a true miracle that he's back and alive, because as we know, so many hostages didn't make it back. So many lives were lost on October 7th. There are believed to be 19 of the now 58 hostages are alive, with the other ones allegedly not alive, but nobody knows anything. This is a dirty, 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 dirty game and a dirty war. And my feelings, and I know a lot of people's feelings, I've spoken to so many different people, the Dust Brothers, Jordan, Miles, and I have been texting, spoken to people in Israel, spoken to people in the United States, some people who are Democrats, some people who are Republicans, some people who are left, right. I know for me, and I was talking to my wife, she really reminded me that we all were begging, tweeting, protesting, stressing, crying, and all of the above, that Edan Alexander and the hostages come home by any means necessary. And the reason why the by any means necessary part keeps coming back to me, because of course this wasn't going to be pretty. And the animals of Hamas, their bosses in Qatar, they won on October 7th. I've said this before. There's no fixing, there's no replacing the damage that was done on October 7th to the people who lost their lives. There's no replacing the heartbreak of those people's families. There's no replacing, fixing therapy that can repair the damage of the hostages that were taken and that come out alive, the victims, the IDF soldiers who have been injured, who have been unlived, their families, the people who I've spoken to myself, just and the minuscule amount of people that I've spoken to myself who have stories of horror of October 7th, the horror that I'm sure they are just spooked to the core by and terrorized to the core by, and the life-changing memories and experiences of surviving from October 7th, and so forth and so on. But the animals, the bad guys, won on October 7th. And the assets that they had with these hostages, we lost. The good guys lost. Israel lost. There's no way to fix it. The only way to fix it is to get them all back. And even then, this young man's life will be changed forever. His family's life will be changed forever. Their perspective on all things will be changed forever. But when I was talking to my wife about the idea of bring them back by any means necessary, fight, yell, scream, beg, plead, I tweeted that so many times. I said it so many times. By any means necessary. This is what it means. It feels extremely emotional. It feels crazy. All the stuff that's been put in the news and online. Some of it's probably true. Some of it's probably not true. The idea of Qatar wanting and suggesting that this young man, after being held hostage for 580 plus days, comes to Qatar and meets Trump and meets whatever the hell the leader of Qatar is, whatever he's, I don't know what they are, to be paraded around. When I thought about that this morning, and I don't know if it's going to happen as of the recording, this I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, Edan Alexander's grandfather said, no, he's not going to Qatar today. And he should never go to Qatar. He should never have to go to Qatar. He shouldn't have to go anywhere. But to get him home if that was suggested, that's what by any means necessary means. It just put me, I could just speak for myself, it just put me, and I don't speak on behalf of anybody, through a spin cycle of emotions, because you think, this is what a Jewish person, a hostage is taken, an American hostage is taken, a Jewish American hostage is taken and held for 19 months. And Biden couldn't get him out. And then Trump and his crew, Witkoff and so forth, they have to agree, because I can't imagine that Trump, as fucking wild as he may be, or maybe he did suggest it, because by any means necessary, unfortunately, means by any means necessary. But somebody came up with the idea that after 19 months in captivity, Edan Alexander goes to Qatar 2-3 days after being released and meets Trump and meets the leaders of Qatar. And I'm just thinking, how sick is that? To parade around a 21-year-old kid who is stolen and done, who the fuck knows what they've been doing to him all this time, and you want to show him off like some prize, some negotiated piece of material. I felt that. And then this idea of this plane that I've read so many different things about. A $400 million plane that was being gifted to President Trump, that he tweeted that it was, I'm just like, what the plane? You know, the idea of Trump, did he say, oh, well, I want the hostage back? And they said, we'll give you the hostage back, but then you take the plane. But how does it, what is this? And then arguing with people that love Trump, people that hate Trump, Jews that hate Trump. But I mean, just like the whole day was just sick and twisted and emotional and frustrating. And I just go back to free the hostages by any means necessary. And this young man has been freed by any means necessary. And it's a miracle that he's alive. It's incredible that it was done. I know that this situation, I can't even imagine the frustration from Trump, from Netanyahu, whatever we think of them. Whatever you think of them, whatever we think of them, whatever anybody thinks of them, like this is a fucked up thing. And then for anybody have to kowtow down to Qatar and these animals, because I don't know. It's just been really emotional day, incredible day, and a day filled with thoughts and ideas that I never experienced before. And we've had some crazy days since October 7th. We've had some crazy fucking days since October 7th. But this young man is home, and he was freed, and he is in the arms of his family right now. And if Trump is getting a plane, or he said he's getting a plane, and he's not getting a plane, and if it means saying you'll bring him to Qatar, I know his mother was like, I'll bring him anywhere to get him. I know his mother and his father like, we'll take him to Jupiter if it means getting him home. Yes, we'll go anywhere to get him home. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But I know for myself, I have to check myself and take my personal thoughts and feelings. And I really urge everybody to check yourself. If you're really thinking about the fate of the 58 hostages, check yourself. And I'm checking myself that it's not about us, planes, jets, Qatar. This is a sick, ugly game, and there is no winning. They won on October 7th. If your thoughts, prayers, and your soul end goal is to free the hostages. It must be done by any means necessary. And this situation with Edan Alexander really proves it. Really proves it and tests it in a way. But I have to take my own feelings and thoughts out of it, because I'm not his mother, I'm not his father, and I'm certainly not that young man. And they have been put in the most desperate, I'm sure humiliating position to have to beg for your life. I can't imagine that. Literally have to beg and do anything you can to stay alive, to do anything you can to have your son stay alive and for him to make it home. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. And nobody can question. Nobody has the right to comment on what it's taken to get Edan Alexander home, the nastiness, the vileness of it, the sickness of it, the frustrations of it. Nobody really could understand it. And you can't say what you would do and what you wouldn't do when you're not in the shoes of that young man and his family and his friends. And I know I'm kind of ranting, but that's what I do. I do just rant. I'm not trying to, say what everybody else is saying, reading off the phones and reading off this reporter and that reporter and this tweet and that tweet and outsmart everybody. I'm trying to just articulate my feelings in the best way possible. But it has been some day. It has been some crazy, amazing day. But the most beautiful part of it, despite all of our thoughts, feelings, frustrations, is that this young man is home. I will say, in defense of being frustrated, being upset, being angry, being embarrassed about the idea. I was embarrassed about the idea of this young man being paraded around, a young Jewish man being paraded around Qatar. It is a very emotional time. And we are allowed to have emotions, and you are allowed to have emotions, and give yourself space to have those emotions, because this is an extremely unprecedented emotional time. People talk, being mad, you mad, bro? Why are you so mad? You in your feelings? This is a time to be mad. It's a time to be sad. It's a time to be happy. It's a time to be ecstatic. It's a time to bang your fist. It's a time to cry. If you're a Jewish person, if you're someone who's invested in the fate of the 58 remaining hostages and the fate and state of Israel, literally and physically, and the fate and state of Jews' safety in the world and Jews' sort of place in the world, it's an emotional time. So stay focused, but we are allowed to have emotions. You are allowed to have emotions. I'm allowed to have emotions. But at the end of the day, he came home by any means necessary, and there are 58 other hostages that must come home by any means necessary. Period. End of story. What else is going on? There's something that I wanted to bring up last week on the podcast that I forgot, or I don't remember. But Tim Walz, Tampon Tim Walz from the great state of Minnesota. He's back talking. So is Smoking Joe Biden, Cadaver Joe Biden, Jill Biden, respectfully. They're out there. I believe they have a $30 million book deal. $30 million. Come on, Joe. Dr. Jill, what are you going to tell us that we don't already know? $30 million. Crazy. But Tampon Tim from the great state of Minnesota, Tim Walz, who is going to be vice president, might have been vice president of the United States. And going back to all things Israel, all things Jewish, all things hostage related, I feel in my gut, I really, really feel like in my gut, the hostages that have been returned since Trump started, and even right before Trump started, I don't think that they would be back. I don't think that they would be back. if Kamala had won. In my heart of hearts, in my soul, I really don't feel like Israel would be safe right now, and I certainly don't feel like they'd be in as good a position as they are now. And I say good with air quotes because, things are still really, 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 really not great across the board in Israel right now. The people are unbelievable. The people are resilient. The people are magical. And Israel is going to be okay, and the Jews are going to be okay. But things are not great in Israel right now. With at very least the fact that 58 hostages are still in captivity. I really believe that if Kamala won, more hostages would be in captivity. But Tampon Tim Walz, he's been, out speaking and talking and showing up at this place and that place. And he said something the other day at some interview, which was wild. Yo, Tampon Tim, you're crazy. Coach Waltz. Coach Waltz said, I'll just, I'll play it.
I was on the ticket. I would argue because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota that improved people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And
Tim Walz said, I was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could, and he did this. I could code talk. He did like this. I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their trucks. Am I the only one who finds this offensive? You could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their trucks. You speak jive? Tim Walz? That means you speak jive. So you're like, I could code talk, like I speak both languages. I could speak to Kamala Harris, and I could tell the white guys fixing their trucks that this is okay. This is okay to do this, you guys, because you obviously don't speak the same language as my president, Kamala Harris, does, and I'm here to be the interpreter because Tim Walz, I speak jive. You know what I'm talking about, jive? Remember the movie Airplane? You speak jive? Yeah, I speak jive. You speak jive, Tim Walz? You code talk? You code talk to white guy? Tim Walz, let me tell you something. My man, I said this once before. You talking about this football, yada, 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 all that stuff. You ain't Bill Belichick. You're not Chuck Noll. You're not Bill Parcells. You're not Sean Payton. You're not John Gruden. You're not Vince. You're not a football guy. Like when I think of football guys and I hear you speak and talk, you're not that dude. You're not that dude. I don't know what level football you coached, and it's great. Listen, Tampon Tim, it's great that you coached anybody. I coached. But do you see me getting jobs for the big three, coaching the big three, G League, WNBA, and all that stuff? Like, I'm Coach Waltz. Come on, man. I coached also. People call me Coach Rapaport. I'm a championship coached. I coached 13-year-olds to the only championship that most of them probably ever had in their life. I was a part of that. And I put the fucking battery in their back. And I said, we can beat these motherfuckers, okay? We're going to win this fucking chip, and we're going to win this fucking chip today. But I ain't Phil Jackson, okay? I'm not Bill Fitch, Billy Cunningham, Pat Riley, Jeff Van Gundy, Stan Van Gundy, respectfully. I code switch for white guys speaking who watch football, fixing their truck. This is why you lost. This is that goofy, wacky shit. This is that goofy, wacky shit. Tampon Tim, you code switch. Anyway, done. I'll make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, the world's most disruptive podcast. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you ask a question. Ask a question. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. It's the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm out. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dust Brothers. Take me at it with something real nice. Take me at it with something real loud. But most importantly, take me at it with something real funky. It's the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm done.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.